The manager says you're making people uncomfortable. You're trespassing.
I bought this coffee 10 minutes ago.
I'm not bothering anyone. Are you leaving or do I need to remove you?
You're making a mistake.
You can't be here. The words cut through the low hum of conversation. Direct. Final. No room for negotiation. Agent David Chun looked up from his laptop. He was seated near the window of Bennett's coffee house, a ceramic mug half empty beside him. The officer standing over his table wore the dark blue uniform of the local police department. His hand rested on his belt. His expression was flat. "I'm sorry," Agent Chun said. "I need you to pack up and leave." Agent Chun glanced around the coffee shop. It was a Tuesday morning, just after 9. A dozen people were scattered across tables. Students with textbooks, a woman on a phone call, 2 men discussing spreadsheets. No one else was being asked to leave. "Is there a problem?" Agent Chun asked. The officer's jaw tightened. His nameplate read Garrett. "We've received a complaint. You need to go." "What complaint?" "You're making customers uncomfortable." Agent Chun looked at his table. His laptop was open to a spreadsheet. His coffee sat in a branded mug from the shop. His receipt was tucked under his phone. "I've been here 20 minutes. I haven't spoken to anyone." Officer Garrett shifted his weight. "That's not the point. I'm asking you to leave." "On what grounds?" "I don't need grounds. This is private property, and you're being asked to leave." Agent Chun kept his voice level. "By who?" "The owner." "By me." "Are you the owner?" Officer Garrett's eyes narrowed. "I'm responding to a complaint. That's all you need to know." Agent Chun closed his laptop slowly. His movements were deliberate, controlled. "I'd like to speak with the manager." "You can do that outside." "I'd prefer to do it here." The officer leaned forward slightly. "Sir, I'm not going to ask again." Bennett's Coffee House sat on the corner of 8th and Marshall in a college town about 90 miles west of the state capital. The shop had been there for 15 years, occupying the ground floor of a converted brick building that once housed a printing press. It had exposed beams, mismatched furniture, and a chalkboard menu that changed daily. The kind of place that prided itself on being a community hub. Agent David Chun was 36 years old. He'd been with the Federal Bureau of Investigation for 9 years, specializing in financial crimes and organized fraud. He held degrees in economics and criminal justice. His work took him across 3 states, following money trails through shell companies, encrypted transactions, and falsified records. He was in town for a case. A local credit union had reported irregularities, missing funds, forged signatures, altered documents. Agent Chun had been assigned to conduct preliminary interviews and review financial records. It was routine work, quiet work, the kind that didn't require a badge on display or a gun on his hip. He'd arrived the night before and checked into a hotel 2 blocks from the coffee shop. That morning, he'd walked over with his laptop, ordered a medium roast, and settled in to review case files. He wasn't in uniform. He wore jeans, a gray Henley, and a light jacket. He looked like any other customer. Officer Garrett stood with his thumbs hooked into his vest. He wasn't yelling. He wasn't gesturing. He was simply waiting. The posture communicated expectation. Compliance was assumed. Agent Chun remained seated. "I purchased a coffee. I'm using the shop as intended. Unless the owner or manager asks me to leave, I'm staying." Officer Garrett's expression didn't change. "You're trespassing. I'm a paying customer. You were asked to leave. That makes you a trespasser." "By who?" Officer Garrett didn't answer. He keyed his radio. "Dispatch, I'm at Bennett's Coffee on 8th. I need backup for a trespass situation." A few heads turned. The woman on the phone call glanced over, then looked away. One of the students closed his textbook and left. Agent Chun kept his hands visible on the table. He knew the script. He'd seen it play out in training videos, in case studies, in depositions. The escalation was predictable. The outcome depended entirely on how he responded. He said nothing. Officer Garrett stood there, waiting. The silence stretched. Someone coughed. The espresso machine hissed. Time seemed to slow. A second officer arrived within 3 minutes. Officer Lewiston, younger, maybe mid-20s, with a crew cut and a nervous energy. He approached the table and looked at Garrett. What's the situation? Trespasser refusing to leave. Officer Lewiston looked at Agent Chun. Sir, is there a reason you're not complying? I'm not trespassing. I'm a customer. You've been asked to leave. By an officer, not by the business. Officer Lewiston hesitated. He looked at Garrett, then back at Agent Chun. Do you have ID? Why do you need my ID? To verify your identity. Am I being detained? You're being asked to leave private property. That's not an answer. Officer Garrett stepped closer. Show him your ID. Agent Chun reached slowly into his jacket pocket. He pulled out his wallet and removed his driver's license. He placed it on the table. Officer Lewiston picked it up, examined it, then handed it to Garrett. Garrett walked a few steps away and spoke into his radio. His voice was low, but Agent Chun could hear fragments. Running a name, David Chun, Asian male. The description hung in the air. Officer Garrett returned to the table. He placed the license down without looking at Agent Chun. Dispatch shows no warrants. But you still need to leave. I haven't violated any law. You're violating a lawful order. From who? From me. Agent Chun kept his tone even. What's the complaint? I already told you. No, you said there was a complaint. You didn't say what it was. Officer Garrett crossed his arms. You're loitering. I purchased coffee. You've been here too long. 20 minutes is too long? It's not about time. It's about behavior. What behavior? Officer Garrett didn't answer. He looked at Officer Lewiston. Let's remove him. Agent Chun didn't move. I'm not resisting. I'm asking for clarification. If I've violated a policy, I'd like to know what it is. Officer Lewiston shifted uncomfortably. Sir, it's easier if you just comply. Easier for who? No response. The barista, a young woman with short blonde hair, approached cautiously. Excuse me, officers. Is there a problem? Officer Garrett turned to her. Are you the manager? No, but I can get him. Do that. She disappeared into the back. Agent Chun waited. The other customers were watching now, some openly, some pretending not to. The shop had gone quiet except for the soft jazz playing over the speakers. The manager emerged a minute later. His name was Tom Brennan, mid-40s, balding, wearing an apron dusted with coffee grounds. He looked at the officers, then at Agent Chun. What's going on? Officer Garrett spoke first. We received a complaint about this individual. We need him removed. Tom frowned. What kind of complaint? He's making customers uncomfortable. Tom looked at Agent Chun. Have you been bothering anyone? No. Has he been bothering anyone? Tom asked the room. No one answered. He turned back to Officer Garrett. Who complained? That's not your concern. It kind of is. This is my shop. Officer Garrett's jaw tightened. A concerned citizen reported suspicious behavior. What behavior? That's part of an ongoing assessment. Tom looked confused. I don't understand. He's just sitting there. He's been here an extended period. So have half my customers. Officer Garrett's voice dropped. Are you refusing to cooperate with law enforcement? Tom hesitated. The question carried weight. Refusing to cooperate could mean problems. Permits, inspections, the subtle ways authority could make a business owner's life difficult. But Tom looked at Agent Chun again. He looked at the table, the laptop, the coffee, the receipt. Then he looked at the officers. I'm not asking him to leave, Tom said quietly. Officer Garrett stared at him. You're sure about that? He hasn't done anything wrong. We've received a complaint. From who? Officer Garrett didn't answer. He turned back to Agent Chun. Stand up. Why? I'm detaining you for investigation. Of what crime? Trespassing. The manager just said I'm not trespassing. I'm the one making that determination. Agent Chun remained seated. His hands were still on the table, visible and still. You don't have legal authority to detain me without reasonable suspicion of a crime. The property owner has stated I'm not trespassing. What's your basis for detention? Officer Garrett's face flushed. Stand up. Now. Agent Chun didn't move. He wasn't resisting. He wasn't arguing. He was simply refusing an unlawful order. Officer Lewiston put his hand on Agent Chen's shoulder. Sir, please stand up. Agent Chun looked at the hand, then at Officer Lewiston. Don't touch me. Then stand up. No. Officer Garrett moved behind Agent Chun. You're under arrest for disorderly conduct and resisting. I'm not resisting anything. I'm asserting my rights. You're interfering with an investigation. What investigation? No answer. Officer Garrett grabbed Agent Chen's left arm. Officer Lewiston grabbed his right. They pulled him to his feet. Agent Chen didn't struggle, but he didn't help them either. His body went limp in passive resistance. Stop resisting, Officer Garrett said loudly. I'm not resisting. They forced his arms behind his back. Agent Chun felt the cold metal of handcuffs click around his wrists. The sound was loud in the silent coffee shop. Tom stepped forward. This is ridiculous. He didn't do anything. Step back, sir. I'm calling my lawyer. You do that. They walked Agent Chun toward the door. His laptop was still on the table. His coffee was still half full. His receipt was still tucked under his phone. As they reached the door, someone in the shop pulled out their phone and started recording. Officer Garrett saw it. Put that away. The person didn't. I said put it away. I have a right to record. Officer Garrett looked like he wanted to argue, but Officer Lewiston touched his arm. Let's just go. They escorted Agent Chun outside. A small crowd had gathered on the sidewalk. Students, shoppers, people on their way to work, all watching. Officer Garrett opened the back door of his patrol car. Watch your head. Agent Chun ducked and slid into the back seat. The door closed. The locks clicked. Through the window, he could see Tom standing in the doorway of the coffee shop, his phone pressed to his ear. He could see the person still recording. He could see Officer Garrett speaking into his radio, his face tight with frustration. And he could see Officer Lewiston standing apart, staring at the ground. They drove to the police station in silence. Agent Chun sat in the back seat, his hands cuffed behind him, his mind cataloging every detail. The time, the location, the exact words spoken, the witnesses present. At the station, they processed him through booking, fingerprints, photo, personal property inventory, his wallet, his phone, his watch. They asked for his occupation. Federal agent, he said. Officer Garrett paused. What? I'm a special agent with the FBI. The room went still. Officer Lewiston looked at Garrett. Garrett stared at Agent Chin. You're lying. My credentials are in my jacket. Inside pocket. Officer Garrett reached into the evidence bag and pulled out Agent Chen's jacket. He found the leather credential case and flipped it open. Federal Bureau of Investigation. Special Agent David Chin. Badge number 47382. Officer Garrett's face went pale. He set the credentials down on the counter. He looked at Officer Lewiston. Neither spoke. Agent Chun kept his voice calm. I'd like to make a phone call. Officer Garrett stepped back. You can't be. I am. And I was in the middle of a federal investigation when you arrested me. I need to contact my supervisor. You didn't identify yourself. I was off duty. I didn't need to. You should have told us. Why? So you'd treat me like a person instead of a suspect? The question hung in the air. Officer Garrett had no answer. Officer Lewiston spoke quietly. We should call the chief. No, Garrett said. We can handle this. Handle what? We just arrested a federal agent. He was trespassing. The manager said he wasn't. Officer Garrett's jaw clenched. He was non-compliant. He was asking questions. He refused a lawful order. Was it lawful? Officer Garrett spun toward Lewiston. Whose side are you on? I'm not on a side. I'm trying to figure out what just happened. Agent Chin spoke. What happened is you racially profiled me, fabricated a complaint, ignored the property owner's statement, and arrested me without cause. That's what happened. Officer Garrett pointed at him. You don't get to say that. I can say whatever I want. I'm the one in handcuffs. The chief of police arrived 30 minutes later. Chief Patricia Dalton, a woman in her late 50s with gray hair pulled back in a tight bun. She walked into the booking area and looked at Agent Chun, still in handcuffs, then at Officer Garrett. Uncuff him, she said. Chief, he was... I said uncuff him. Officer Lewiston moved forward and unlocked the handcuffs. Agent Chun rubbed his wrists. Chief Dalton gestured toward her office. Agent Chun, would you come with me? They walked down a narrow hallway into a small office with a desk, 2 chairs, and a filing cabinet. Chief Dalton closed the door and sat down heavily. I apologize, she said. Agent Chun remained standing. For what specifically? For the arrest. For the way you were treated. For this entire situation. Who filed the complaint? Chief Dalton hesitated. There was no complaint. Then why was I approached? She didn't answer immediately. She pulled up something on her computer, read it, then looked at Agent Chun. Officer Garrett was dispatched to the coffee shop on a suspicious person call. But when I checked with dispatch, there's no record of it. He made it up. I can't confirm that yet. What can you confirm? Chief Dalton folded her hands. I can confirm that you were detained without cause. I can confirm that you'll be released immediately with no charges. And I can confirm that there will be an internal investigation. That's not enough. I understand. Agent Chun leaned forward. Do you? Because from where I'm standing, one of your officers decided I didn't belong in a coffee shop. He fabricated a complaint, ignored the business owner, and arrested me when I asked questions. And the only reason I'm being released is because I have a badge. What happens to people who don't? Chief Dalton met his eyes. That's a fair question. It's not a question. It's a fact. This happens every day. You just don't usually have to answer for it. She nodded slowly. What do you want? I want the body camera footage. I want the dispatch logs. I want a formal apology on record. And I want Officer Garrett investigated. You'll have all of that. When? I'll start the process today. Agent Chun picked up his credentials from the desk. I'll be in touch. He walked out of the office, collected his belongings from the evidence locker, and left the station. His phone had 17 missed calls, 3 from his supervisor, 4 from colleagues, 10 from unknown numbers. He called his supervisor first. Chun, where the hell have you been? I was arrested. There was a long pause. Say that again. I was arrested. Local PD. I'm out now. What happened? Agent Chun gave him the summary. When he finished, his supervisor was silent for a moment. Are you okay? I'm fine. Do you need anything? I need legal representation, and I need someone from the Civil Rights Division. You're filing a complaint? I'm filing a lawsuit. The internal investigation moved slowly. Chief Dalton assigned it to a sergeant in professional standards, a man named Kowalski who had a reputation for thoroughness. He interviewed Agent Chan, Officer Garrett, Officer Lewiston, Tom Brennan the manager, the barista, and 3 customers who had been in the shop. The body camera footage was reviewed. Officer Garrett had turned his camera on only after Agent Chun had been handcuffed. The entire confrontation inside the coffee shop was not recorded. But the customer who had filmed the arrest provided their video. It showed Officer Garrett and Officer Lewiston pulling Agent Chun from his chair. It showed Agent Chun saying, "I'm not resisting." It showed them handcuffing him. It showed the walk to the patrol car. It was 14 minutes long. It went viral within 48 hours. The department issued a statement. It was carefully worded, expressing concern, promising a thorough investigation, reaffirming commitment to unbiased policing. Agent Chun issued his own statement. It was shorter. I was racially profiled and arrested without cause. This is not an isolated incident. This is a pattern. The media picked it up. Local news first, then regional, then national. FBI agent arrested in coffee shop. The headlines wrote themselves. Officer Garrett was placed on administrative leave pending the outcome of the investigation. Officer Lewiston was reassigned to desk duty. 3 weeks later, the investigation concluded. The findings were released in a 17-page report. Officer Garrett had initiated contact with Agent Chun without reasonable suspicion. He had claimed to respond to a complaint that did not exist. He had ignored the business owner's statement that Agent Chun was not trespassing. He had failed to de-escalate. He had arrested Agent Chun without probable cause. He had failed to activate his body camera until after the arrest. The report recommended termination. Officer Garrett appealed. His union fought. There were meetings, hearings, procedural delays. In December, the appeal was denied. Officer Clayton Garrett was terminated from the police department. But Agent Chun wasn't done. In February, he filed a federal civil rights lawsuit. The defendants were Officer Garrett, Officer Lewiston, and the police department. The claims included false arrest, unlawful detention, racial profiling, violation of constitutional rights, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. The lawsuit sought $6 million in damages. The department's legal team tried to settle quietly. Agent Chun refused. He wanted a public trial. He wanted a courtroom. He wanted a record. The case went to discovery. Depositions were taken. Documents were produced. Emails were reviewed. And a pattern emerged. Officer Garrett had been with the department for 11 years. During that time, he had filed 127 incident reports involving what he categorized as suspicious persons or loitering. Of those 127 reports, 93 involved people of color. 74 resulted in no arrest, no citation, no criminal activity found. He had 5 formal complaints in his personnel file. All involved allegations of racial bias. All had been classified as unfounded or not sustained. But the complaints told a story. In 2017, a black college student reported being stopped while walking to class. Officer Garrett demanded ID, searched his backpack, and detained him for 30 minutes. No violation was found. The complaint was dismissed due to insufficient evidence. In 2018, a Hispanic man reported being ordered out of a public park where he was reading. Officer Garrett claimed the man matched the description of a suspect. No such suspect existed. The complaint was labeled, "not sustained." In 2019, an Asian woman reported being followed by Officer Garrett for 6 blocks, then pulled over for driving erratically. The dash camera showed no erratic driving. The complaint was closed after Officer Garrett attended a bias training seminar.